Hello and welcome to another episode of FPL Expectations with me, Craig. Yes, it's the weeks after the international break, and 1 or 2 weeks it's been. We've seen everything. We've seen injuries. We've seen COVID positive tests to key players as well. So I expect a lot of movement within the FPL community in terms of transfers. I expect to see loads of wildcards being played as we gear towards game week 9 of this FPL season so far. As always, I'm never alone here. I'm never alone to give you the advice. I'm not the man to do that. So I always bring reinforcements with me. And joining me today is FPL Zhou.
Hi.
How are you doing, mate?
Everyone? Wow,
And,
BJ. First. That's quick.
And we've got FPL Mariner in the house. Yep, exactly that. What the fuck? What has been going on during this international break, boys? Come on, give it to us.
It actually says, "Where's the food?"
That would apply just for you, mate. But seriously, Mariner, I mean, what is going on with this international break? We've seen it all. We've seen players being injured just before the international break, during the international break. We've seen positive COVID tests to key players. I mean, before the international break, managers were coming out and saying, the games were there are too many games. There's not enough rest for the players. We saw muscle injuries. We've seen all sorts. And then they go away with their international teams, and it just gets that much worse for us.
I mean, I don't think we need to rant, because I think there's been enough rants on Twitter and everything in the last 2 weeks. But quite frankly, it's a joke, isn't it? I mean, people, you're not allowed to travel anywhere, and yet people are traveling around Europe and around the world for pointless friendlies, for Mickey Mouse Nation League trophies, and this, that, and the other. And I just think it's a waste of time at the moment. They'd just be better off just staying at home, staying in the bubbles, and then maybe we wouldn't have all our problems. I mean, it'll be the thing we mentioned earlier, Craig, is that how many flags have we had during this period?
Yeah.
It'll be very interesting, because this is live for people to see what's the highest number that the viewers actually will say how many they've had flagged. Because I mean, I had 4 at one stage, and I think I did quite well. So yeah. I'm really not sure as to some of the carnage which is out there. I called it COVID carnage when I posted this tonight. And I said there's more flags than in the United Nations. But I think that's pretty much how it fell. I mean, at one stage, it was just it was just ridiculous. It's just every time you look, there was another player flagged. Robertson, Chilwell.
Yeah.
And of course, then Salah, spotted dancing on his on somebody's shoulders, hugging
his brother's wedding
in the middle of Cairo or wherever he was. So. Yeah. Don't go there. But the thing you mentioned, though, is about people are in such a mess. There's so many different routes that people can go now. And I think this will be the interesting thing to talk about tonight, to be honest.
Okay, Joe, before we come to you, I'm just going to say hi to everyone that's watching out there. VJ Garv, yes, you were the first to comment as we went live. FPL Swing, hi, how you doing? It's good to see you after the 2 weeks or 10 days that we've been out for. So I hope you're all ready for game week 9. Abhilash Menon, yes, I did see your tweet. I saw that you were going to watch us live, and I believe you have some questions for us. And yes, we are keeping safe, some more safer than the others. FPL Mariner in Singapore, I think they're 2 weeks and there's been no cases there. So I think you're in a much safer place than me and Joe. But Joe, coming back to you.
Yep.
Yes, international break. Salah, positive. It doesn't look like he's going to make it back in time for game week 9 and possibly game week 10.
Yeah, to be honest, the second test came quite quickly after the first test. Not really sure what their procedure is, but I think it's quite obvious we would get a negative. But I think now it boils down to the 10th day, as we mentioned. Discusses now is on a Monday, so if it's on Monday and he gets another test and it's another negative, another positive,
Yeah.
then I think we'd be in big trouble. But I think like I mentioned just now, having such a expensive player on a bench, even
Yeah.
for a week or most probably 2 game weeks, it's a waste. It's a waste. We can do so much with it. We can do so much with the cash.
Yeah, we can, and we'll come to transfer plans in a couple of moments' time. But just recapping briefly, looking forward to game week 9 and seeing the key players. It was good to see during the international break Kevin De Bruyne getting some form back. I thought he was fantastic against England, and obviously yesterday he got a goal, got an assist. Fantastic news for FPL managers out there. He came through unscathed. So that's always a big plus. Jack Grealish putting in some really good performances for England. You have to mention that because I think, Villa have a great run of fixtures coming up. And he, will be on the top of every manager's wish list and transfer plans. But, Mariner, going to come to you. Some of the key players during this international break for our FPL squads, who really impressed you? And and we'll go on to transfer plans a little bit later. But who really caught your eye?
Well, I think the obvious one's Grealish. I mean, how much really? What is he worth? If he was at a bigger club, what would his value be as an FPL asset? I mentioned about the captain metric, which I put the article out earlier during the international break, and I mentioned that I've included Grealish into that. I can't leave him out. The bloke is, I think he's probably in the form of his life. And thank goodness he's actually made it into the England team. If I put my England shirt on for once and try to be a little bit patriotic despite all the bullshit which is going on in the UK at the moment. And I'm absolutely delighted to see Jack Grealish finally pull an England shirt on. So no, I think for me, Grealish was probably the standout thing. I think who else was there? I'm just trying to think.
I'm going to throw a name in there now, and it's not one which has a high ownership because he probably doesn't play the same role for his team in the Premier League. But Wijnaldum for Holland. I mean, he's come off the back of a fantastic international break. Now, I know everyone out there who's watching is going to be like, well, he's not going to get into my FPL team. Yeah, I know he's not. But with the injuries that Liverpool have right now, I mean, could we possibly see a rejigger formation, to accommodate maybe him in a more advanced role? I'm just throwing some possibilities out there. I mean, you've got Salah that's out. We know about the defensive injuries. Jordan Henderson might not be available for Liverpool. We expect him to be, but he might not be. But, if we see Wijnaldum in a more advanced role, the similar type of role that he played for Holland over the international break, is that someone just for a punt for the next couple of weeks? Joe, is that something that you do or you'd stay away from?
I can recall, when he played for Newcastle, he did well as well in the attacking front. I think he's like on 7 goals in 9 games for Holland, if I'm not mistaken. Probably around there, that kind of stats we're looking at. So if Jurgen Klopp, I don't know if he's trying to be creative, like attack is my best defense kind of mentality, we might see that. But if you ask me to punt on a game week 9, just on that, probably wait and see for me. But it's definitely something to keep in mind because Wijnaldum definitely has that capability to bring in the goals. Just as we saw in when during his time in Newcastle. I remember when he was in Newcastle, he was actually a viable FPL pick.
Yeah. So
he was quite interesting to see him. The problem is his versatility. He's so versatile. He can play like how he did for Liverpool, and also banging in goals for Holland in the same week in week out. So So it's quite interesting to see.
While we're on the topic of Liverpool players, I mean, we're going to go straight to transfer plans now, and I think everyone knows about Liverpool's injury crisis right now.
Mm-hmm.
But the amount of funds that can be freed up by taking out Trent and Mo Salah, I mean, it forces you to kind of rejig your teams around. And I know we all have Salah in there. Mariner, how are you using this Salah funds? Are you taking him out? Are you leaving him on your bench? Are you rejigging your team with the extra funds available by taking him out of your team? What are you doing?
I don't know.
And there you have it from our FPL expert.
No, I think my gut feeling tells me he's out for at least 2 game weeks. So, because I physically don't think he's going to. I think even if he comes back, I think he's probably not going to be quite there. So I think I can do without Salah for 3 game weeks. Game week 12, possibly. You'd be looking to try and bring him back in. Fulham away, I think. That's a fairly obvious one, I think. So, if you're going to go away from him, you've got to come back. But look, you can save a lot of money. I mean, I'm personally looking at. I have looked at whether you can just drop down a little bit to De Bruyne and just go early, because he is still a bit of a differential. And given his form, he looks in good form. And I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't get something at the weekend. The other option, of course, is to go to Fernandes, which is I think the very obvious choice as a captaincy option. That said, I'm not sure whether that fixture is great, and that's my worry. And I would be moving away from it. I wouldn't be staying on Fernandes, so I would be looking at locking a move in to get away from him. So if I'm doing that, why not go to somebody like Rodriguez? Because you're saving, then you can either bank the money and move it around a little bit. Go with Everton's great fixtures if Richarlison's back. Although Cavani, I think, kicked him from one side of the pitch to the other last night. So whether he's fit or not's another thing. But I'm tending to probably go at this moment in time. If you asked me, I'd probably go for Rodriguez, because I fancy the double up against for Everton for the next 3 weeks, actually, because Everton's fixtures are very favourable for the next 3 weeks, and that allows me to stick with my other plan, which is to try and stay with a premium striker. Okay. I think that's the key. You've got to give it. It's give and take, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you can't have everyone in your team.
Have everybody. So no, that's my rough idea. But you've got to, if you're going to move away from Salah, the thing I would say is make sure you can find a way back to him, because you're going to need to.
Joe, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to come to you with a similar type of question, but the only difference being that you already have Bruno Fernandes. What are you going to do? What are you thinking of doing?
Actually, it really depends. I mean, the obvious choice would, if you're looking at to go like Salah in for just one person. For me, it would be Kevin De Bruyne. But like what Mariner says, if you're looking at a premium striker, like people like Jamie Vardy, before this we were looking at game week 10 is a week you should bring him in, but based on how Liverpool is ravaged with injuries right now, you can even bring him in now. So where else to bring in the funds than selling Salah, which is like the perfect timing, So it really depends. If you want Vardy in, probably you can look at Rodriguez, maybe even ZH, because he had a great international break with Morocco. And you can go Vardy. I reckon he will be on his those one in a season kind of streak. We had that last season. I think he scored like what, 8 goals in a row.
He's a streaky striker, isn't he?
Yeah, really streaky. So the key is to catch the start of the streak. I think last season he started the streak with a hat trick against Southampton. So I don't know. Will we get another hat trick start? Maybe.
Okay. So we've seen De Bruyne. De Bruyne's names float about. We've seen Bruno Fernandes. We've also got the options of upgrading to a premium striker in Jamie Vardy. But Man City do have a tough fixture against Spurs, and likewise Spurs against City. Now, while we're talking about the likes of Harry Kane off air, and how maybe Spurs assets might fare a little bit better against top teams with their counter-attacking football. Is Harry Kane someone that you'd like to keep with the City match, obviously, in mind, Mariner?
I am probably going to keep him for the City game. In fact, I'm probably going to keep them both. I'm probably going to keep him and Son. The only reason probably I'm keeping both, though, is that I've got other fires I've got to put out. Pulisic and Saba. And I don't. The other thing is I'm determined not to take a hit this week, because I think that many people will be taking hits before a ball's kicked. I'll go up a few thousand spots. If I don't take any hits. So that's my Joe's pointing at yourself. I mean, so that's my view. But I will almost definitely be moving away from one or even both of them, I think. Despite their fixtures, if you looked at the fixture difficulty, which I do, it still actually rates them reasonably well. But you can see that this is where stats go wrong sometimes, because you've got to use your eyes. They're not creating the chances, and they're just not looking at the team they were before, and they've got some tough fixtures coming up. So even though I think they will tick over, both of them, I think there's probably better value there. Whether you go to a Vardy, like you say, or whether you go down to somebody like Watkins.
Another name that's been branded about.
I own obviously DCL, Bamford, and Kane. So, Watkins to me, I mean, Antonio would have been a no-brainer, but if he's still injured, then that's not the case. But so I don't think there's any harm in moving away from Kane for a few weeks. But again, around Christmas time, I think I'll be looking to bring him back.
Okay. Just the last one. Another player that's been transferred in quite a lot over the last few weeks, Ben Chilwell. Now, Joe, he came off injured for England in their second match, and obviously didn't feature yesterday. Are you concerned? Is this something that we should be looking at, or do you expect him to be fit for the weekend?
I expect him to be fit because I think he is integral to part of Lampard's Chelsea, especially in part of their good run of form. Actually starts when Chilwell starts his first debut match, I think. So, he is actually doing really well on the left side. So I expect him to start. Whether it is an early rest, maybe, not sure. But I expect him to start. Just to add on the Spurs versus City match, Doherty has been
Doherty, that's
positive.
Another one,
he was. I think he's also COVID positive.
Yeah,
so
correct.
I don't think he will start. That means Aurier is going to start on that side.
Got to help them.
So against who, like what, Sterling? Or Foden even.
Sterling, Foden. You got the Ferran Torres, who did fantastically for Spain as well. Got a hat trick against Germany. Mahrez will play on the right, or
I mean, like yesterday, Foden played really well as well.
Yeah, 2 goals.
So he's having fun on the pitch. But whether Pep will still bench him, I'm not sure. Which is why I actually ditched him.
Yeah, me and you fell victim to that quite a few times already, haven't we? We just don't. We just have to decide whether we cut our losses now or just hang on. But before we move on to the next segment, I'm just going to say hi to some of the guys that are joining us and watching live. Thank you all for joining us. Can't name you all individually because there is quite a few, but I've seen a couple of new ones here as well. So welcome to FPL Expectations. I hope you enjoy the content that we're providing. And do put your questions on here. We will come to them very shortly. But we're going to move on to the next one, which is it too wild to wildcard? Now, I know both of you have used your wildcard, for this before this. But for those out there who, are still tempted to play it because of all the flags that popped up on their screens, is it the right move to make? Is now the time to do it just before? I mean, what 7 weeks away from burning it or something like that? Mm-hmm. Is now the right time to play the wild card?
I mean, it obviously depends on the situation you're in, but there's a lot of these injuries. This is not a normal season. Hardly any of these players are out for more than 1 or 2 weeks. So, generally speaking. So, if you're looking at that, then are you wasting your wild card by playing it? Can you get 11 players on that pitch, or even 10? Yeah. Even 10 and a good captain. Maybe that's what you just need to do this week. Because as I say, it's a bit carnage. It's carnage out there. I mean, I think my son was on about firing his wild card because I think he's got loads. I think he's got 6 or 7 flags. I think so. I mean, again, it comes to a stage where I think you've got no option unless you're going to play your free hit, and I'm not sure I would recommend doing that either. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, look, it is. Some people may well have pre-planned this as the wild card, as their window for wild carding. International breaks are a good time to wild card. It gives you a chance to think about it under normal circumstances. Go with the price rises, this, that, and the other. And have a chance to digest it all and then hopefully come out with a decent team. But of course, the situation which people are in, and like you, Craig, you've played your wild card, haven't you, at the moment? The situation you've got now is, are you comfortable with the players you've got? Because are you going to lose, are you going to be in a situation where you're going to have to hit players out in a week or two because you've gone the wrong way?
Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's a very tough one. I mean, I would say it's very much dependent on where you are. If you've got 6 or 7 injured or 6 or 7 out,
you do a choice.
You've probably got no option anyway.
Yeah.
But I think if you, I wouldn't be. There'll be lots of people taking -4s. There'll be a fair few taking -8s. I've seen some horror stories on Twitter. 16s.
So I want to be doing that.
That's why I think if you've pre-planned your wild card and you've got there's the fixture turns, there's the City guys there now coming. I mean, you at least need 1, if not 2.
Yeah.
And in the weeks to come, you've got Villa, who you could easily treble up on.
Yep.
In my eyes, you've got West Ham, who've got some now, who are quite fixtures. There's Vardy. There's some very, very nice options out there if you have wildcards who are fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The key
at the moment, until we check Twitter in the next half an hour and find another 6 players have got COVID.
Go. Coming to you, wildcard or not wildcard?
I mean, like what Mariner said, it really depends on your situation. If you have fires everywhere, probably is a good time to wildcard. But personally, if I still have my wildcard and I can feel probably even a 10 player team, I would probably go ahead because I think game week 10 is still probably the one I would look to wildcard if I still have my wildcard. But then again, it's still not too bad if you wildcard a week before. Like I said, if you have fires everywhere, you just need to ride it out. Even if you wildcard on game week 9, you just need to ride it out, and game week 9 you might not get the result that you're looking for, but aim game week 10 onwards. But on the other hand, there isn't, because due to so many flags everywhere, your pool is probably smaller, and like what Mariner said, these are not long injuries like 5 to 6 weeks.
Or months.
This is so unpredictable. They might be even suddenly they say, oh, we are fit to play on Sunday.
Yeah.
So it's COVID. COVID is really unpredictable.
Yeah.
So with COVID, at least you guarantee 10 days out. I mean, you definitely miss a game week.
Yeah. I mean, like you might miss a game week, and after next week, that crap, he's back.
In,
So what do I need to do? So yeah. I mean, I see on the comments people ask about free hit. For me, I think free hit I would still keep it for doubles or blanks, because free hit is something that you can use throughout the season. And like what we say, next international break on March, who knows? Something like this will happen again. So I probably wouldn't recommend free hit. I would still prefer to keep it, because it's a more powerful chip in a way, because you can use it anytime in the season, as compared to wildcard you have until game week 16.
Yeah. I'm just going to move on quickly to captain pick before we come on to questions from the community. We spoke about this off air just before we came on, saying that, has there ever been an open game week such as this, where, captain picks were sport for choice, really. I mean, you could go anyone. You could go mid-pricing to Jack Grealish, to budget in Ollie Watkins, to the premium. Yeah, sure. I saw Chilwell shout. I mean, that is risky. I think that was Surya, actually, that might have posted that up. It is very. But we got the premium, the other end of it, which is obviously, your Chelsea boys against Newcastle. But Mariner, captain pick. I mean, you mentioned a very interesting one to us, who you're leaning towards. Shed light on that, please.
Well, look. I mean, first of all, this bloody metric I'm doing is driving me crazy. I look at there's 8 players within a.
Shall I get it up?
Nothing. It's not there. I've not shared it, so I don't think it's there. But okay. The thing is, there's literally 8 players within no distance of each other this week. It's so tight. There isn't really a standout candidate. Kane's still there. He's still hanging around. Vardy's up there.
Yeah.
If you look at Everton's form before Richarlison got sent off, Calvert-Lewin's very, very should be very strongly in people's thought. It's whether I mean, you know me, I hate Richarlison. If there was only one player to pick, I would leave him on the bench. I would. I couldn't play him. But the point is that, Everton need Richarlison, right?
Yeah.
And the way what I do is I tend to I mean, I talk to a number of people. One of the guys I speak to a lot, speak about him quite a bit. He comes on our show a bit on the group sometimes. Is FPL Lens, and he does a lot of matchups. And he got me thinking about matchups. So I started looking at it. And if you talk about headed chances, Everton are 4th in the season for headed chances created. Fulham are second bottom.
Wow. Okay.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah.
Right? Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And Rodriguez for his delivery, potentially. So I wouldn't catch him.
But we saw the difference.
These are matchups. You look at it like that and you think, whoa, hang on. That's interesting, right? It's going to be very dependent, in my opinion, on Richarlison being back or not. All right?
Yeah.
But, so I'd say I don't think DCL is a bad call at all. That was the one I would. Whether I go with him or not is another matter, because there's the FOMO of there's FOMO of Fernandes for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fixture tougher than people think? I think it is. I think it's a tougher fixture than people give it credit for. And my other, if I had him, I may well captain Vardy.
Interesting. DCL and Vardy for Mariner. Joe, I know you're a massive Jamie Vardy fan, especially for this week. Who would your captain pick be ahead of game week 9?
Mariner is making a really good point on DCL. I was just checking on Twitter on Richarlison news. I'll probably continue checking later on. Because DCL, I think he did well in his first match. The previous match, I think the one before. Wait, which? There's one match he scored, I think, in this international break.
Just before United. Just before United.
Oh, okay. So I think I don't know. I'm trying to look for Richarlison news. If he is fit and ready to go, Mariner, I think you have probably rattling my my.
It's these headed chances which has got my appetite, to be honest. Because Calvert-Lewin is as good a header of a ball as I've seen in a long, long time.
Yeah. I mean, I think we were talking about this when we did the live FPL thing the last game week when Everton played United, and he literally won every single ball in the air against.
He's so strong
against Lindelof. And post-match, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did come out and say he's arguably the best header of the ball in Europe. I mean, that's for a centre forward. I mean, that is some statement. But you look at it and you look at the stats, and I know I'm getting you all excited, Mariner, and I'm probably justifying your captain pick right now. But he is a beast in the air, isn't he? I mean, he's got the timing, he's got the strength, he's got everything's got the lead. He really is a handful. And we spoke about complete strikers. He's nearly got everything to his game.
Yeah, and is Coleman back as well?
I think he is. I think he is. I think he played for Ireland, didn't he?
So I think basically the whole band is back. If Richarlison is fit, so I think they are going to be a force to reckon with again. I mean, and then they are against Fulham. So
yes,
I think they're pretty much overlooked this coming week.
Yeah.
But I mean, talking about captaincy, obviously the popular one is Bruno Fernandes. But like we said before the show, I mean he hauled last week, but whether this week will he haul again? I would reckon he get a return, but probably not haul. Probably not.
Yeah, and we know how Man United do against teams that sit back, defend with that low block, and they always struggle to break them down. So Bruno Fernandes on paper looks tasty as anything, but maybe in actual fact might be one to monitor. But Joe, I'm going to put you on the spot. Mariners picked DCL for this week. He's not sticking by that, by the way. Before the deadline, I'm sure you'll see a tweet or two from him and seeing who he's going with. But for now, he's licking his lips with DCL. If you're watching out there, so don't take his word for it. It might not be the same thing come Saturday. But Joe, if I had to put you on the spot now and ask you to pick a captain for game week 9, who are you going with?
I'm more of a risk-averse person, so probably I'll just still put my pick on Bruno.
Bruno, okay. Nice one. We're going to go to questions from the community, but before we do that, I'm going to come to you guys on YouTube who have been bombarding our chat on the side with questions and maybe just talking to yourselves as well. But I did see a few questions directed at us. First one is Hazik. Mitchell seems like he's back in training today. I have Salah, Wilson in doubt. My bench is not very convincing. I've done and Anguissa. Should I take a hit? Now, Mariner, you did talk about hits. You've seen people take a ridiculous amount of hits, some even a -16. So, with Salah and Wilson a doubt, his bench not being very strong to come into play, is it a good time to take a hit?
I think in this case, I don't see his team, but I would say just looking at what the players who he's mentioned, yes.
Yeah. Hit, yeah.
I would. And I would concentrate on Salah and Wilson because they are the players who you can get a return from from those players. So, you move someone from Salah, or you move Wilson to someone, and you captain them.
Yeah. Vicky Raj, I'm going to say. Oh, sorry. I didn't realise you weren't finished yet.
That would be my perspective, because I think, you look at who you're going to bring in, because bear in mind that one of the most important things you do when you make a transfer is look who you're going to captain for the next 2, 3, or 4 weeks.
Yep.
Good point. Yeah.
Because captaincy is just so important in this game. It's crazy. It's so important. So you have to look at Ilar. But, I mean, basically, I wouldn't be worried about taking out Dunn and Anguissa and players like that, because if Mitchell is training, he might get, might get some time. And, and quite frankly, whoever Palace put out, they don't play badly at the back, do they?
Yeah.
So from that side, I think that might be okay. But I would say, look at Salah, look at Wilson. Wilson's out for ages, as far as I know, isn't he?
I'm not too sure. Is he?
I think only the last match. I think he was injured.
Not for a long time.
Yeah.
But anyway, maybe I thought he was. But that being the case, I still would change it. I think that to be honest with you, you've got some great choices at the same price point as Wilson. If you wanted to go there, you've got obviously Watkins, players like that. I don't know who he's got. Obviously, you could go up to someone like Vardy or Werner.
Yeah.
And equally, he's got Salah. He can go down to Fernandes, or he can go to KDB, or whichever way he wants to go, really. So he's got loads of options. That's the good thing.
Yeah.
Just before we go on to the next question, big shout out to Vicky Raj joining us for the first time on FPL Expectations. Hi, how you doing? Hope you like the video so far. Just going to the next one. Ask Messi about Wijnaldum. I think in reference to our Wijnaldum chat earlier on in this show. Zhou, why are you looking so disappointed, as if Salah is injured for a month? Well, he could well be out for a few weeks, so I think that's why you see the disappointment in his eyes. Fernandes should outscore J. Rod. What if we have?
Did we miss a question? I think we missed one about by Tabindra Raj bringing in Ziyech will be.
Oh,
good.
Sorry, yeah, I did miss that. We'll bring in Ziyech and be good for Chelsea. With fixtures taking a tougher turn after Newcastle. Now, we spoke about Ziyech, we've spoken about Werner. They did do really well in the last game week. But Chelsea, after Newcastle, they got Tottenham, they've got Leeds, they've got Everton, Wolves, West Ham. It doesn't really get, you don't see a lot of greens on them. They're not really issues. But this Chelsea side looks so impressive going forward, don't they?
Yep.
Yeah.
I would think Ziyech, with his price, only 8.2 million at the moment. I think he, even if you bring him now, because I think Pulisic is out. Who else is out? Is Havertz still out?
I think he should be back, because he was positive just before the international break, wasn't he?
Oh, okay. So
he should be back, but we need to wait for an update.
Yeah, I think Ziyech is definitely nailed for at least for the next few game weeks. I think he's one of those that you can just keep him there, and I probably would think he would do reasonably well against any team right now with his form.
Okay, just going to scroll down to the other questions that we have. The cat picking your captain this week, Mariner. That one's for you. Is the cat? I mean, he'll probably do a better job this week, wouldn't he?
I've just had to throw him out, as you probably saw earlier on, because he was sat under the table meowing like a blooming banshee. So yeah. I mean, he might do a better job. So,
yeah.
We could do. We could put the cards out and video.
You can probably do a game week special on the show,
Yeah.
Making the cat choose your captain.
Abhilash Manon agrees with you, Mariner. He says he's saving his wild card for game week 10, 11, when the fixtures do turn for him. So he's got his plans set with the wild card then. FPL Buna is -16 at the moment. So yeah, that's quite a hit there.
I think he activated his free hit chip, you know. If I'm not
Did
mistaken.
he?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So he might have activated that. OP Quinn says wildcard was gone in game week 4. I can't bring myself to buy Richarlison as well, following on the hatred that Mariner shares for him. Abelish says he's got a hunch Fulham would pull off a surprise. But yeah. And he loves you. He loves you, Joe. He absolutely loves you. OP Quinn goes, Villa have a good run up to game week 15. How about a Grealish and Watkins double up? Now, this is something on the back of the performance just before the international break against Arsenal. A great display by Villa going forward. We saw that earlier on in the season against Liverpool, but they don't do it consistently enough, do they? Now, do you take that risk, Joe, and go with this Villa double up?
If I could, I would, because firstly, they're both dirt cheap for their potential output, Dirt cheap, you can use their funds to bring in other players, and they're explosive as well. So, just keep them in for the run in, bring in the, if they blank, they blank. If they haul, you just keep them. If I could, I would, because I couldn't. I have the infamous Martinez and Steer combination. It's so shitty, So, man.
Sorry, mate. I can't help but laugh.
So I ended up going Grealish because if you can choose one, go Grealish.
Okay, there it is. Havertz is back in training, as confirmed by Frank Lampard. So there you go for all you Chelsea fans out there, and players, FPL players looking to get in.
I was just going to say.
So you're breaking up, Mariner?
Sorry, mate. I was going to say, don't discount Barkley out of that discussion either.
Yeah, a cheaper alternative to Jack Grealish. We did have a chat about this, I think, as well.
Or double them two, if you.
Grealish and Barkley double up. That wouldn't be too bad. Who else have we got? VJ Garv goes, sorry, I went AFK. Do you remember me? I'm not sure I do. I'm not sure if any of the others do.
He's the first to comment. So.
Oh, yeah. I remember him from today, but I'm not sure if he was talking about previously. So, yeah, I definitely remember you today. FPL Swing says he's got the same triple up as Joe. Cries. He's crying. Yeah, that you don't want the 2 Villa goalkeepers in your team right now if they continue the form they showed against Arsenal. OP Quinn agrees with your Barkley shout, Mariner. That's good. BJ Garb, question. I'm on double Villa defense, Mings and Martinez. Is it worth banking on Mings' profit and get Watkins by rolling a transfer next week?
Yeah, that's a tougher one because I'm a bit careful about doubling up on defenses. Being honest with you, doubling on defenses is I tend to keep that back for premium teams. I tried it last year with Everton early season. They kept a couple of clean sheets and it went completely wrong. I ended up with Mina and who else it would God knows was it drove me. Oh, and Dean, Mina and Dean. 4 weeks. Ridiculous. It was.
Yeah.
So no, for me, I would if you've got it's obviously a gamble, but I think Watkins potentially is the best value player in the game at the moment.
Okay.
Potentially, with respect to the next few weeks' returns. So I would make Watkins a priority if it was me. If you haven't got it, I've got Bamford. I went the Bamford route, and at the end of the day, he's still doing bits, isn't he? He's overperforming, doing bits. So
he's fun to watch.
Yeah, and he's exactly and make fantasy fun again, right?
Mm-hmm.
But no, if you haven't got Watkins and you've got, I think for this question in particular, I think it's not a bad call. I think that's probably what I'd do.
Yep.
I think we've got news that Thiago Silva is going to miss the match against Newcastle. So that opens the Rudiger that comes in, then the to that clean sheet. VJ Garv, yes, you did watch our stream. You watched our stream, the one that we did, Mariner. How could you forget? Come on, mate.
I had such a massive.
That bottle of wine went down pretty fast, but come on. Yeah, we had a lot of viewers of 3, was it? Yeah, a record.
Yeah.
And 2 of them were from our household as well. I'm going to go that we got given on Twitter just before we come on. We always tweet out about an hour or so before the show and asking the Twitter community I'd like to ask on the show. FPL Hafiz, who's a regular follower of us on social media, is Ziyech an option for the next 4 game weeks, or is Bruno a better choice? I'm a United fan, prefer not to have any United assets if possible. Swapping out Son, by the way. So Son is coming out of his team. Is Ziyech an option for the next 4 game weeks, or should it be Bruno?
Who's starting? Do you want me to go? Right, I had a quick look at this one. I didn't manage to write the numbers down, but I've just done a tick and a cross through it. So Ziyech, value. He wins on value. Bruno obviously has penalties. Bruno wins on XG. Ziyech wins on XA. And Bruno is overperforming more than Ziyech. They're both overperforming with respect to involvements against returns. But you could argue that Bruno is overperforming more. But saying that, how many times have we seen that before with Bruno Fernandes? He seems to be the person who breaks the statistics, generally speaking. So I think that's a really, really, really close one.
It is
3-2. It's 3-2 to Ziyech by my little quick add up there. And I think maybe, given the fact that I would move Bruno on probably sooner than Ziyech, I would maybe go Ziyech.
Yeah. Okay, Joe, I'm going to come to you. Is Diogo Jota an option? Now, we saw how well he's done for Liverpool. Great start to his Liverpool career. Salah's going to be out. We expect Jota to play. I mean, he did against City anyway. Is he a serious option for those who are looking to bring him in?
Probably for the next two weeks. Yeah, I mean, because partly due to Salah being out, and I think because is he? People compare Jota to Foden, but I think, I don't know, based on what I can see, Jota probably is more explosive and plays higher up than Foden. So even if Jota gets like a odd bench in 1 or 2 games, I think probably he will get the goals more than Foden, because he's more like a poacher kind of player, especially when you come in at a late game where legs are tired, and him being fresh gets into good positions and with good finishing. I think he is a good option, especially even more so for the next 2 weeks with Salah out. I think most probably he will be starting. So actually, that's a pretty good call as well in my books.
Yeah, we talk about Salah being obviously testing positive for COVID, Liverpool being decimated by injuries. But are they still? Is it still worth looking at getting alternative Liverpool assets in? So when we talk about Salah, you've got Sadio Mane that's still there. You have obviously Jota, who we just spoke about. I mean, Liverpool's fixtures aren't terrible, bear in mind. They've got Leicester, which isn't an easy game for anyone. But after that, they've got Brighton. They've also got Wolves, who aren't the same team that we've seen over the last couple of seasons. They've got Fulham, And then Tottenham, I mean, that's their next 5 games, you know, and then after Tottenham, you know, they've got Crystal Palace, West Brom, Newcastle, Southampton, Burnley. I mean, it's still really tasty, if we're being honest. But, you know, is it worth jumping off the whole Liverpool bandwagon, or should we look at alternatives?
I mean, from my perspective, I mean, Mane is obviously a great player, and you know they've still got a fair bag of talent to be able to draw on. It's not like it's one of the weaker sides with very little on the bet, you know, very little players to come in. So I wouldn't be worried. I like the Jota shout too. I've just noticed from the comments though. Was it OP Quinn said Wolves Jota is why I'm reluctant to get Liverpool Jota. So I think that's the key there, right? But no, I think Jota's a decent option. I think Mane is a good option as well. You know, again, he's. I would have no problem in somebody staying on Liverpool. I would just say that just looking at the fixtures, you know, Wolves are still pretty good in defensively, right?
Yes,
they're pretty good defensively. Brighton are not. Fulham are definitely not. Tottenham are not bad. Palace are not bad. And then the fixtures really turn very favourably. But you're really looking at game week 12 onwards when the fixtures really back. Yeah. But I mean, so I'm actually one of the. I'm still holding Robertson. I was thinking about he could have gone this international break, but now I've got so many other fires to put out. I can't.
Yeah.
So me too.
Just keep him. Yeah, I think I'll just keep him now.
Okay. OP Quinn raises a good point. Mane, have you seen his record against Leicester? Orgasmic. Is it worth? I mean, he has to be a shout. Surely you've got, you know, the best attacking return in Salah because he's obviously on penalties and you know he's just a fantastic FPL asset. But you can't ignore Sadio Mane, can you? I mean, he gets you goals. You know, arguably performed better than Salah last season. You'd expect him to take on, you know, the talisman role now that Salah's out for a couple of weeks at least.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just looking at the metric now, which obviously I'll put out tomorrow. He's right up there. So, you know, he's another one of those in that chasing pack behind the top 3. But it's just so tight. I don't think he's bad. He's not a bad call at all. It's so open this week. You know, we're not sitting. I'm not deliberately sitting on the fence here. I mean,
I was just looking at the
tomorrow, but
I was just looking at the ownership. He's only selected by 10.7%.
Yeah,
could be a real good one, right?
Ooh.
Yeah, I think Emran, who's just joined us, has said that 10% ownership. I mean, got to be licking your lips for differential there. VJ Garvin goes, I'm captaining Rodriguez this week. He scores mad amounts and knee-jerk moves start right from the get-go. Ballsy or not ballsy?
I mean, look, at the end of the day, if you're looking for some differentials, it's not just about one player, it's about combinations of players, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, that's why I'm thinking Rodriguez and DCL, obviously. But, I mean, Rodriguez, of course, if DCL is going to head the chances in, Rodriguez might be the one who creates them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to find someone, it'd be him or Digne.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing in the back of my mind about Rodriguez, and it always bothers me, is that they just travel such a long way, don't they, for their matches. But yeah, I think they don't play till Sunday. So I think it's Sunday evening. I think at Everton, if I recall. So if that's the case, I think it gives them enough time to recover. But yeah, certainly. I mean, Fulham for me. Look, if you don't target Fulham, who are you going to target?
All right. Okay, boys. Last few bits ahead of game week 9 before we wrap this show up. Zhou, anything for the FPL community out there? Any players to keep their eyes on, or any suggestions?
I think, you know, the only player that I probably fear of not having for the next few weeks is Vardy. Because I just can't think of a way to bring him in, you know, without dismantling the rest of my team. So, I mean, he's the player that I fear the most.
And you've already taken a hit, haven't you?
Yeah.
this week. So to further get him into your team would be requiring more hits.
Yeah, why I took a hit, because I think firstly, Grealish is rising up in price. I sort of had a plan over game week 9 and 10 to take 2 hits in a row. I didn't expect Salah to get COVID-19. Yeah, so I took an early hit because whatever plan that I had, I was just having extra 0.1 million in the bank. So with the impending price rise, I took an early hit. Also because I wanted to put it at the back of my head and just just don't look at my team anymore after that. Worrying about price rise every day. But actually, in so far, I was. I mean, of course, I hope nobody, none of my team gets flagged. But so far, it's not as bad as I hoped. So far, it's not as bad as I expected. So still not too bad. And just to be more exact, what I did was Jimenez out, Adams in, and Foden out, Grealish in, because I just couldn't stand Foden anymore. I mean, I couldn't stand, keep the faith. But it's quite tough, It's easier said than done. So I probably, seeing Grealish nailed and bang on form and a great fixture, I just couldn't resist.
Going to go to a couple more questions before we wrap it up. Abilesh asks thoughts on Jimenez, and he has a cheeky laugh behind that. Marin, I'm going to come to you. I think we know what we think of Jimenez this season. I mean, Wolves, we spoke about how good they are defensively, but attacking-wise, just not quite the same outfit without Jota, without Doherty, and without Traore in the first 11.
Yeah, and they're playing Southampton away, which is not necessarily that easier a fixture. Yeah. Southampton have the habit of keeping the odd clean sheet, don't they? So, but I mean, he may get a return, but if he gets a return, it'll be one. Again, I mean, for me, I just think there's more exciting picks than him. I think if you want to have a bit of fun with 8.5 million, I think I could find something better to spend it on.
BJ Gard asks, are we streaming any matches this weekend? I don't think we will be. I mean, no, actually, I'm going to tell you that right now. We are not going to be streaming any matches, partially due to the fact that I'm going to be out on Saturday. But we'll be watching the matches. Just won't be able to stream it. And I've looked at the matches on Sunday. They're absolutely a bore fest. I don't think we're going to be streaming it this week, but we will be doing one when we get some really tasty matches. And we'll definitely do that again because we did enjoy it too. And I'm guessing you did as well. OP Quinn, I'll be behind the sofa for the City match, but with one eye on the game because I still own Son. Just like FPL Mariner, he's keeping his Spurs assets this week. So I think he might be joining you behind that sofa. So
I'm tipping Son as well.
Yeah, there we go, and Joe too. So you're in good hands. Aditya goes, guys, will Mitchell start or be benched? What do you think? We just received news earlier on in the comments that he was back in training. Maybe this weekend a bit too soon for him.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah. So a bit too soon for Mitchell, we reckon, this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Van Aanholt shall play, according to VJ Gov. The rest of it. Okay, Aditya. Guys, what do I do with Podence? Fancy him to start and get more than 60 minutes? Probably. But Wolves attacking.
I'm so disappointed with Podence. I thought he was going to be a lot more...
Yeah.
A really great asset, but he just hasn't really delivered really for me. Quite honest, I did that. As I said, I did that article which got tweeted by the official site back in August, and Podence right on that book, right? But the other player, and you wanted me to come on to what I was just going to say, just in closing, Craig. The other player I thought took that was the GOAT. That is Souček.
Yes.
Oh.
How can we go without mentioning your Souček? He finally got through to you. He delivered for you, and you called it.
Scored this week for in the international, and he's going to score this weekend.
Wow, there you go. He's got the crystal ball out. He's made a shout. He's been right. He called the Kurt Zuma one. He called the Souček. He called the Souček goal the previous week, and he's calling another Souček goal this week. So if you have Souček as your fifth midfielder, I think it's something you might consider. Maybe
fourth midfielder now.
Fourth midfielder. He's been upgraded in Mariners team.
I'm playing him in front of Bamford.
Wow, there you go.
Wow.
Well, they do have Arsenal, but we've seen that Arsenal defense as well.
The reason is it comes down to headed chances again, because West Ham creating lots of headed chances and Sheffield United concede a lot. And who's going to be on the end of those headed chances?
Yeah. So Aditya, in answer to your question, play Souček opponents. There it is. Play Souček without a shadow of a doubt. And in answer to your next question, I'm guessing that you joined us very late on the stream. What are your differential picks for this game week? We did mention that. We did list down a few. So, when you're free, do watch this over back. And, you'll get your answers there. But that's all the time we have for right now. As always, Zhou, Mariner, thank you so much for lending us some of your time. I know it's very precious for all of you, and it is about 11 o'clock here in Malaysia and Singapore. So, thank you for joining us on such a late show. Zhou, anything to say just before we head out?
Sal Salah.
Sal Salah. Mariner, last one.
No more flags.
And we leave it like that, guys. Good luck to all you FPL managers out there in the FPL community. Game week 9 is coming towards us very quickly. We did have that international break where we have seen loads of injuries. We've seen flags left, right, and centre in our teams. I hope the advice that's been given to you by our experts has been good enough for you to get you a respectable score ahead of game week 9. Sorry, before we leave, Mariner, are you hosting a game week deadline?
I don't know yet. It's my 50th birthday this weekend, so
okay.
I know there'll be a bottle of whiskey by then, but I don't know. It depends. If I do something, I'll shout it out on Twitter. And if not, what I will do is I will probably take over if I'm at home and I don't do that, I'll take over the Twitter account for an hour anyway, and do that, and probably tweet during the game as well. So I think
there we go. And that's how Mariner is going to spend his 50th birthday at home on his laptop or in front of his phone and tweeting away. There we go. Is that the wine or the whiskey?
That's the wine. The whiskey's
the wine.
The whiskey's somewhere else.
Aditya wishes you a happy 50th, mate. FPL Swang, 50. Wow, happy birthday. Yeah, he looks about 60, doesn't he? It's all the stress you guys give him in the FPL community, I swear. But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for coming on. And Mariner, yes, happy birthday. Happy 50th as well.
Have a great one, mate. Hope Souček scores for you.
Well, so do I.
And thank you out there. I know I thanked you, but thank you once again for watching this live stream. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're not already, do follow all of us on Twitter. It's follow me at CraigMorais11. For Mariner, it's FPL Mariner, and for Zhou, it's Zhou FPL. If you're not following our Twitter account at FPL Expectations, please do. It's at FPL Expectations. And if you're not subscribed to us yet, get your notifications as soon as you click that subscribe button down below. Hit the bell for all the notifications that come through. Thank you for sharing it. It's been just over an hour. We appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed all the feedback, all the advice from our experts. If you have any questions that you have left unanswered, please do tweet us. And one of our experts will get back to you. It's like a helpline, isn't it, really? But do that. Keep in interaction with us, and we will respond. Thank you so much, and have a great game week 9 ahead.